Hi everyone, you're getting ready to watch my cancer story video, and I just wanted to do a little disclaimer before you watch that all the information that I'm telling you in the video is from my experience only. No way is this meant for any kind of advice for someone going through cancer. The decisions that I made were best for me and my family, and again, they're just my opinions and my experience that I went through. And also, at the end of the video, if you watch, I will be inserting some pictures. The first picture will be the day of surgery. I was psyched, ready to go, ready to get that cancer out of my body. And then the second picture was when I came out, or when I was home from surgery, when I just got home. And then there's the third picture of me marking off my 31 days of radiation treatment. I think in the video I said there was 32 rounds of radiation, but actually it was 31. And then the very last picture is pretty graphic. It is actually towards the end of my radiation, and I have some pretty severe burns. So I just wanted to give you a heads up on that picture is very graphic. So anyways, I hope you enjoy my story. I hope you get something out of it, and God bless you for watching. Hi everyone. I said that I was going to share my breast cancer story, so I think I will go ahead and do that today. Well, I'm 43 years old, and I have absolutely no breast cancer in my family whatsoever. Back in May of 2015, I had a biopsy done. Well, let me back up a little bit first. It was before that, maybe like December of 2014. I felt a lump on the side of my left breast, and I have fibrocystic breasts, so I wasn't very concerned about it. So then when I did my self breast check the following month, which would have been January, I felt it again. So I was a little concerned about it, but I thought, well, again, it could be fibrocystic breast, so I'll just keep an eye on it. Well, at the end of January, my husband, who was 40 at the time, had a stroke. Very unexpected. He's fairly healthy. So I was dealing with that, which he came out of it, by the way. He has no deficiencies. Praise God that he's fine. But anyways, while he was home recovering from that, I had told him about the lump, and he felt the lump and said, yeah, I feel it. So I had him take an ink pen and circle it, because sometimes, if you have a lump, it's hard to find if it's so small. So he circled it, and when I went to the doctor, he circled it the day that I went to the doctor to have it checked out. And she felt it, and she goes, well, I'm going to go ahead and order a mammogram for you. And then it was that time again anyway. I only had one mammogram before I found the lump, and thank God that I did, because they use that as a baseline. So if you're in your 30s, you may want to go ahead and get a mammogram if your insurance will cover it, because you really need a baseline mammogram for something to have to compare to. So if you do find something later, or if they find something in the mammogram, they can look back at a normal one before any issues arise. But anyways, that's just my opinion. I'm not a professional nurse or RN or gynecologist. This is just from my experience only. So we went in for the mammogram in early May, and then late May I had the biopsy done. And then on June 1st, 2015, they had called me to tell me that it was cancer. The biopsy results, it was cancer. But right before that, as I was waiting for these biopsy results, I knew it was cancer. It doesn't make any sense, because there's no cancer in my family. Like I said, it's just unheard of. There's no line in my whole family. No one in my whole family. It never had an issue, never had a lump, never had a biopsy, never had a question. So it was very, very stressful. But anyway, I just knew that it was breast cancer. I could just feel it inside. Well, I was sitting outside on my swing, waiting for the results. They could have come in, any day now, the phone call. But I was sitting out there all by myself, just looking at the trees and getting fresh air and just praying and just talking to God. And he spoke to me clear as day, just like I'm sitting across from my BFF having coffee, spoke to me clear as day, and he said, I'm going to allow you to go through something. I have your back, and you're going to be fine. Complete peace came over me. In that second, I had complete peace. I was not worried. I was not upset. Just peaceful. There is no other way to explain it. And then, I don't know how many days later, it could have been that day or the next day. I'm not sure exactly, but then I got the phone call that said that it was breast cancer. And I broke down. I cried because, I knew that I had to tell my boys. I have 3 boys. And the youngest was 12. So, it was just going to be a little change for our family. So, sat the boys down, told them what God told me. I'm going to be fine. And I totally trusted God. This is what he told me. I had peace. I can't explain it any other way. If there's anybody out there that has had peace from God, you know what I'm talking about. And I went through the surgery. It was not easy for my mother. My mom had a real hard time, and my dad, watching their daughter go through this. But I had surgery. They took out some lymph nodes under my left arm, and thank the Lord, there was no cancer in the lymph nodes. So the doctor, the oncologist, left it up to me whether or not I wanted chemotherapy. So I chose not to do chemotherapy. I chose to do radiation only. So I went through 32 sessions of radiation. It was okay. It was, towards the end, like the second to last week. I took pictures and stuff, but it was a pretty severe burn. Skin coming off raw. And then that last week was pretty rough. But I survived. It was okay. God was with me. I wasn't worried. I knew I was going to be okay because God told me. God told me I was going to be okay. So there's nothing to worry about. And then after the radiation, I healed. And I have to be on tamoxifen for 5 years. The tamoxifen has some side effects. My hair thinned a little bit at first. My eyelashes thinned. There's changes in my sleeping habits, moods, but that's a small thing, a small sacrifice. To be on a medication that helps. I don't know if I want to say prevents cancer, because I don't know if it really prevents cancer. You'll have to do research on tamoxifen, these after cancer drugs. I really did not want to be on them, or to be on that, but when you have your oncologist telling you it's the best thing for you, you just do what they say. And I had several people in my life, friends and family, that, you shouldn't do chemo. This is before I found out I didn't have to. But if you have the choice, you should never do chemo. Don't do it. It's toxic and blah blah blah. But I want to tell you, you have to do what's best for you and your family. When you're sitting in front of that cancer doctor, and he looks at you and says, you need to listen to what I'm telling you. This is my advice. And if your cancer comes back, it's going to come back with a vengeance, and it's going to attack your bones and your brain. Let me tell you, when the doctor tells that to you, you do what they say. But I just wasn't depending on the doctors. I had God on my side, and he already told me I was going to be fine. And I prayed about it, and that's just the decision that I made. But I tell you what, one of one of the experiences that I had is the first time I went in for my cancer checkup, or actually just to see the oncologist the first time. I was sitting in the waiting room, and my husband's sitting next to me, and I'm looking around the room, and I see these people, some wearing wigs, some bald, some sick. This one girl, she probably looked like she was maybe 20, 21, and she was so thin. I mean, pitifully thin. And she had a wig on. You could tell it was a wig. And, I just felt so terrible for all these people. And I looked at my husband and I said, oh my gosh, these people are all sick. And he goes, honey, you're sick. You have cancer. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I guess. But when the cancer's in your body, you're not sick. I don't feel any different. You feel fine. But it's the chemo that makes you sick. And I'm not giving any advice saying don't take chemo or do chemo, whatever. You have to make that decision on your own. But I'm just saying it's the medication and the chemo that really makes you sick in the beginning anyway. But my, the spot that they removed was, let's see, the lump was, they thought it was 1.5, I think, centimeters or millimeters. I'm not sure what the measurement. But it was actually 2.1 when they removed it. And it was a short time. It was probably from the time I was diagnosed to the time I had surgery, 2.5, 3 months. And it's not a fast-growing cancer. I didn't have the fast-growing cancer. But they put me at stage 2 because of the size. But anyways, that's just a little bit about my cancer story. And I tell you what, I don't know how people get through cancer without God. If you think about the word hope, the hope is God. If you don't have God, or you don't believe in God, then what is hope? What is your hope in? I don't know. That's one of the things that really got to me when I was going through this, because there are people out there that don't believe in God, and they don't believe in Jesus Christ, and I just don't know how they do it, because going through this, I was in total peace. Now, if this was reversed and this was my child going through this, like my mom had to experience, or if this going through it was my mother and I had to help my mother through it, I probably would have been a basket case. But that's where faith comes in, and hope. And God told me I was going to be fine, and who am I to say no, I'm not? So I thank God. I thank God for my life. I'm not afraid to die. I think I thought about that when I was going through cancer, even though I knew I was going to be fine. I think about dying, not just from cancer, but anything. I have 3 boys and a husband and a niece and nephew and, family. But I'm not afraid to die. I know where I'm going, and I believe in salvation, and that's the bottom line. But what I do fear about dying, not really fear, but what I'm not looking forward to is the worry about those who are left behind. So the thought was, if I pass away during surgery, well, what about my children? But again, that's where faith and that's where hope comes in. So anyways, I hope I didn't bore anybody. I just, I wanted to tell my cancer story, and that's it. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to try to answer them. But if you know somebody that's going through cancer, just encourage them and pray for them and give them hope. Because without hope, there's nothing. So thank you for watching, and if you liked the video, hit the like button. If you want to see more beauty, wig, tip, makeup videos, subscribe. And thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much for listening to my cancer story.